everyone, this is Sonic Reaper from SC2GG.com commentating on a game played in the 2008 World Cyber Games US Open that was held in New York City on the last Saturday of May, that's May 31st. And this tournament was invitational only 4 players were invited to this tournament. That was Alex Skew Brola, Geoff Incontrol Robinson, Dan Artosis Stemkowski, and Daniel Nyokin Edson. Right now, this is a matchup between Geoff Incontrol Robinson, as the teals look in the top right hand corner, against Dan Artosis Stemkowski on Bluestorm. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the map a little bit so I can talk about that in just a second. And this is the round 1 of the losers bracket. What happened was in the very beginning of the tournament, Geoff Incontrol lost to Alex Skew, and Dan Artosis lost to Daniel Nyokin. And so now these 2 players are playing in the losers bracket. Whoever loses in the losers bracket is out of the tournament. And the overall prize of this tournament is a $700 prize pool and then a paid transportation and board at the US Nationals. So these players definitely are on top of their game here. They don't want to go home. I mean, if they lose this best of 3, they're out. This is game 1. If they lose 2 games in a row, if they lose 2 games total, they are out of the tournament, and then they'll have to go home empty-handed. So we can see that Artosis here already has his barracks going up. Very standard open. You can see the supply depot already down. That's going to enable Artosis to keep up his SCV production. Barracks already down. SCV going out for Dan. That's going to enable him to scout his opponent to see what he's up to. You see Incontrol already has a 12 hatch down. A 12 hatch is when you, on your 12th drone, you put down a hatchery. And you can see he's doing a spawning pool here. And that's going with the hatchery first here in this expansion, the natural expansion. It's going to enable him to be able to have another mining base before Artosis. And that's going to enable him to stay 1 base ahead of the Terran. And in Zerg versus Terran matchups, so Zerg always wants to stay 1 base ahead of the Terran. You can see that Artosis scouts this, and he sees that Incontrol went 1 hatchery spawning pool. So he knows that he's not going to get rushed, so he doesn't need to prepare his defenses for any kind of Zergling harassment or anything like that. You see that Incontrol also sent his Overlord down. It's hanging out above that cliff, and that's to give him scouting information about what Artosis is going to do. And because Artosis sees that Incontrol isn't going to harass him, he's going to go ahead and start an expansion himself. Incontrol also placing down a 3rd hatchery inside his main base, and that will help him to produce fighting units or drones to mine from these expansions. And now, for those of you who aren't very Starcraft savvy, I'm kind of putting this down into layman's terms. You mine minerals for your basic units. It's the basic component you need for all units, and then you need these Vesping geysers for gas, which go towards your tech units. And a little bit about the map real quick. Here's the natural expansion. You can see it has the Vesping geyser and minerals, and a natural expansion is the base right outside the main base. Then you have this mineral only expansion that does not have a Vesping geyser. And then you have an expansion in the bottom right hand corner and at the 6 o'clock position. If you're looking at a clock, this would be called the 6 o'clock. And the map just pretty much mirrors each other. The only interesting thing to really note about this map is that there's 2 entrances into your natural expansion. There's this little small choke here that only small units can fit through, like drones, SCVs, Marines, Zealots, Zerglings, while bigger units like siege tanks, Dragoons, Lurkers, they can't fit through there. They have to travel all the way around into the middle of the map, which is really interesting because you have a ramp that leads down all the way into this very, very, very low ground. And this middle ground is very critical in army battles because if a unit is on the low ground attacking a unit on the higher ground, if it's a ranged unit, it has only a 70% chance of hitting that unit up on the high ground. And Bluestorm always provides interesting Terran versus Zerg matchups. You see Artosis just lost his SCV there, and Incontrol did that primarily to prevent Artosis from keeping tabs on what he's doing. You see the layer has already started, and that's going to mean that Incontrol is not going to go for any hardcore early game harassment. He's going to just go ahead and save up his minerals, get some drones, get his economy going, and then he'll use all these minerals and gas that he's saving up for his higher tech units. And we'll see, and he's putting down a Hydralisk, and I was going to mention it'll be interesting to see if he goes Spire, which creates Mulists, which are a flying unit, or Hydralisk. And Hydralisk are a ranged attack unit for the Zerg race. And that means probably getting the Hydralisk den right before the layer finishes he's probably going to get Lurker aspect, and the Lurker is evolved from a Hydralisk, and a Hydralisk can turn into Lurker, which is this kind of like this big spider-looking thing. You see him researching it here. A big spider-looking thing that burrows in the ground. It can shoot spines, and it does 20 damage a hit. And Marines, since they only have 40 HP, they die very quickly to those Lurkers. 2 shots kills them. You can see Artosis already has an academy up. He's researching STEM, and that allows Terran ground fighting units to move and shoot a lot faster. It also provides production of medics, which heal units, and fire bats, which are flamethrower units. It also enables comsat stations, which are radar stations, which enables you for 50 energy to cast the comsat, and you can hear it going off right now somewhere on the map. Artosis is checking out what Incontrol is up to using those comsat stations. He sees the Hydralisk den, so he's probably going to be expecting Lurkers here very soon. He'll probably get, and he already has his engineering bay down with getting +1 weapon upgrade. And that's going to enable his Marines to kill units a lot faster. Right now, Incontrol has a nice squadron of Zerglings out, and pretty much what he's doing, he has this Overlord here in the middle of the map. He knows when Artosis is going to move out through the middle, and he has these Zerglings up here to harass Artosis if he tries to move out. And since Artosis is moving out to the middle of the map, it looks like Incontrol is going to bring his Zerglings around from the left-hand side, and he's going to try to hit Artosis' base from the left-hand side while that army is going to the middle of the map, while simultaneously he's going to morph a Lurker and probably put down a another sunken colony right there to defend his base. And those Zerglings are running in. Unfortunately for Incontrol, he did not spot those 2 Firebats. 1 Firebat is going to go down, but Firebats are very strong against Zerglings, and Incontrol loses a lot of Zerglings there. Even though he managed to kill 2 or 3 of the Terran units, that is not cost-effective, losing all of those Zerglings. He only got 1 Firebat and just a handful of Marines. And Firebats, because they do splash damage with the flamethrowers, they just eat through Zerglings alive. They just roast them and toast them, put them in an oven, you're baked, that's it. And so now, Incontrol just pretty much lost the bulk of his army there, but he's got Lurkers up now. He's got 3 Lurkers protecting his expansion, preventing Artosis from going to the middle of the map here. He's also morphed in a Lurker, and it's here at the other entrance to his main base to prevent Artosis from moving in that direction. Now Incontrol trying to harass Artosis in the middle of the map here. You see Lurker taking out his Firebat right there, and looks like 1 Lurker already got taken out, so now Incontrol down 1 Lurker, and really, because you put so much tech and time into these Lurkers, he does not want to lose these Lurkers, and you can see Artosis chasing after him. He wants to try to get those Lurkers. If he can kill those 2 Lurkers, that's a huge blow to Incontrol. You can see Incontrol taking a 3rd base here. He's going to try to secure this expansion using those Lurkers, and if he would have lost those Lurkers to Artosis Marines there, that would have been a huge blow to him. You spend a lot of your economy that you gain in the early game for these tech units, and if you lose them right off the bat, that is just a huge blow to you. You can see Incontrol moving out the middle of the map here. He's going to try to ascertain map control, which is going to enable him to put pressure on Artosis, prevent him from taking more expansions himself, and take the map and take more expansions. So you can see that he's already trying to do that, using these Lurkers to defensively take this expansion. He'll probably try to pressure with these Lurkers as well. You can see them moving out into the middle of the map. They're going to try to pressure. You can see Artosis, he does not want to let Incontrol, and actually Artosis, good timing there, stems in and takes out that Lurker. His SCV was out in front of his army, and he saw those Lurkers moving in, stems in, took out 1 Lurker, so now Incontrol forced to retreat back towards his mineral only. And now it looks like Artosis is moving up to take out this Zerg expansion here, and you do not want to let Zerg get a 3rd geyser, because if you let Zerg get so much gas, they just start making high-tech units like Ultralis, which are these huge monsters with these huge blades that just kill people, kill Marines like crazy. You can see Artosis comsatted that expansion, just trying to get an idea of what kind of defenses are there. Sees the 2 Lurkers, realizes because of that small choke here, he'll lose like too many Marines trying to take out that expansion. He's going to pull back for now, and he'll probably take an expansion himself and just try to get up a huge army to contend with Incontrol. You can see Incontrol trying to take the middle of the map here. He's got a lot of Lurkers, a lot of Zerglings, and Incontrol, what he needs to do is try to harass Artosis and prevent him from getting that expansion and keep Artosis' unit count down. The Lurkers are very good at just ripping apart Marines. You see Artosis in the middle of the map. You see Incontrol sending the Zergling that trying to find out where Artosis is and keep tabs on his army size. And you can see a siege tank out, and siege tanks outrange Lurkers. So Artosis, seeing the Lurker threat, has gone for a factory. He's also gone for a science facility for science vessels, and science vessels are flying mobile detection. They can cast spells like Irradiate, which is like a radiation blast, on a unit, which causes damage to other units around it, and also defensive matrix, which puts a shield around a unit and making it live longer. You can see that Artosis bringing up tanks, and they also have siege mode, which allows them to attack from long range. He's going to comsat here in a second to reveal those lurkers. Artosis moving his marines up, and there's the comsat, and now the siege tanks are just going to take out those lurkers, and that's going to enable those marines to run in. And you can see Incontrol going for the flank here. He's coming up right behind Artosis. As soon as all those units get in there, he's going to come up behind him and take out those siege tanks. Yep, he's going to plant those lurkers down, and he's going to trap all of Artosis marines, and Artosis trying to take out those lurkers as fast as he can before Incontrol can burrow them. A lot of lurkers get burrowed there, so now Artosis is effectively trapped inside of that expansion until he can bring over more siege tanks to free those units. And Incontrol, in the meantime, could pressure those units and try to take them out. But now Incontrol is down in expansion. He'll probably move to take his mineral only or the bottom right expansion here in a second. Artosis, though, has science vessels out now. Incontrol was just getting a feel for Artosis' army here, just seeing what kind of units were defending his base. You can see siege tanks are up. Science vessel is out. And now Artosis' army is trapped. You can see him trying to move through. And Incontrol actually decides to pull back and let those marines out. I guess he decides that because of the +1 weapon upgrade to those marines, it'd be too much of a threat to his lurkers, even though they got the +1 armor, which really helps them to survive a lot longer. I guess he just decided to pull back just in case Artosis would bring up siege tanks to take them out. Just wanted to save them and use them for another day. You see Incontrol taking his mineral-only expansion here, and we see that Incontrol still at layer tech, not moving up into hive tech just yet. He really, because he lost that expansion, he's got to stay low tech or mid tech for a while until he can gain the upper hand. And he's actually trying to do that right now by taking an expansion in the bottom right hand corner. If he can get both these bases online and mining, not to mention get that third Vespene Geyser, he's going to be very much ahead in the game. But Artosis, look at that massive army size. Look at that. 2 siege tanks, 4 siege tanks. You can see Artosis moving out here. 2 science vessels and a lot of marines. And you can see Artosis trying to expand here. SCV balance trying to take care of that certainly. And actually, those lurkers are at +2 armor now, so they're very strong against these +1 marines. But I'm sure Artosis, yep, he's got the dual upgrades going here. +2 weapon, almost done, +1 armor going. And Artosis, he is very good at macro. Macro is the ability to keep producing units while you're off doing something else, like moving your army around. You can see comsat, you can hear comsats going up the little doo-doo-doo-doots. That's he's checking the map, seeing where Incontrol's army is. And now you can see these siege tanks coming up, and they're going to start picking off these lurkers here and force Incontrol to move back. And Incontrol needs to be careful here, because if he loses these lurkers, he needs to use these lurkers to flank Artosis and try to take out as many marines as possible. And you can see he's actually just going to go ahead and just move straight on in. Irradiate goes off on one of those lurkers, and that's going to kill him. Siege tanks caught in the front. They're going to get picked off by those lurkers. A lot of marines moving in down because those lurkers just don't have enough surgeon support. They're just getting picked off left, right, and center by all those marines. There's just too many marines for those lurkers to handle, and they get picked off. And Artosis is going to go for the kill. You can see that Incontrol leaves the game, GG's, and leaves the game, leaving Artosis as the victor for game 1. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to game 2. Well, I have my excitement up. So now Incontrol down a game. And really, Incontrol's strategy opening up in this game was not a bad move. Lurker is very strong against marines. Like I said, they can take marines out in 2 hits, but you gotta use them early on in the game before the Terran can get these siege tanks and these science vessels, because once a Terran gets these siege tanks and these science vessels and you're still stuck at lurkers, you're in very big trouble. And also, it was just kind of interesting why Incontrol took this 12 o'clock position. That's technically on Artosis' side of the map, and it would have been a lot easier to defend an expansion in the bottom right hand corner or even at the 6 o'clock compared to the 12 o'clock. But we're going to go ahead and move on to game 2. This is Sonic Reaver. Thanks for listening.
I dominate you.